Okay, host, we are good to go live and we are live now.
Alright, sure. So we have the first presenter with us, and he's Param Kandekar. He's a student of Nalsar, and the country of research for him is Hungary. So, Param, you can start presenting.
Fellow, your presentation slides are not visible. Kindly unmute and also turn on your camera.
Yes, just give me a minute, please. I'm sharing the screen. Am I
All
visible?
the Yes, you are visible. All the fellows who have joined, kindly keep your presentation slides ready.
Yes. Uh, are my
Yes,
slides
you can
visible?
start. Yes, you can
Okay,
start.
so good morning, everyone. My name is Param, and I'm presenting on research Hungary's AI artificial governance law, policy, and governance framework with a special focus on Hungary's national AI coalition strategy. This is the, to begin with, Hungary has a very rich heritage of AI, as you can see on the screen. For example, the first supercomputer was built with the contribution of John von Neumann, who was an Hungarian. Uh, but slowly, as this is the triple helix model, which is now adopted by Hungary with academic labs and private enterprise, which are combined with state administration to foster the digitalization. This is Hungary's national AI strategy. There were two AI strategies, 2020 and 2025. Uh, AI policy framework in the Hungarian coalition is coordinated with these two strategies. And as you can see, the 2020 strategy was a passive strategy which has recently been revamped in 2025 for active compliance and mandate and industrial reviews with special focus on technology sovereignty and SME survival mechanisms. What Hungary has done with this strategy is that it has tried to harmonize itself with the wider EU AI laws. With domestic laws are directly anchored with Article 3.1 of the EU AI Act, and it triggers strict liabilities for all the generative AI systems depending on their scales. Overall, the current strategy is that only the adaptive AI falls under centralized state market, and general softwares are still covered under general domestic data protection and information technology laws in Hungary. Uh, Under the Act of 2025, it serves as primary domestic pillar for implementing the EU AI Act, and there is a consultative body and a notifying authority which together form the part of command of Hungary's laws. What Hungary is trying to do is build a sovereign asset and AI factory given the larger geopolitical framework. It is trying to be, as I'll also further show in my slides, a bridge between the East and the West, Eastern Europe and Western Europe. And as a part of that, these are the two supercomputers, Commodore and Levent, which Hungary is aiming to build. The funding of Hungary is massively concentrated, and out of all the public funding which is being invested in the AI sector, under this new strategy, majority of it is concentrated in three projects. One of the most important of them being the digital health. This is one of the from an economics point of view, this is one of the instances where public funding, where the state is being funded by public, and majority of it is has gone in the three main projects, as you can see. The gap between Hungary comes majorly from their existing regulations, which explicitly do not recognize AI. Many of them can be, for example, the civil liability framework or the label code can be applied to algorithm, but interpreting it that way creates some problem due to the different nature of laws that lastly Hungary's oh I'm sorry one there is there. Uh, Lastly, Hungary is trying to regulate AI as of now with soft governance. There are standard EU fines are imposed on majority of the uh, on majority of the AI market, as I already said. But for regular softwares and overall for innovation of AI, Hungary has decided to adopt a collaborative approach with the private sector to foster their AI growth. And lastly, what Hungary is trying to do is act as a bridge between Eastern and Western philosophies. Its capital is majoritarily coming from non-West sources such as China and South Korea, but its philosophy of governance is Western. It is harmonized with the European Union and the larger Western legal world, and it is trying to connect both these sides in itself. Thank you. If you have any questions.
All right. Thank
Okay.
you, Param.
Yes.
That was a very
Participant.
insightful
Yes.
presentation.
Okay.
Okay, fellow. I have one question for you. Like,
Yes.
what are your three key observations for your fellowship research project?
Well, one of the most important is Hungary is one of the countries. Hungary is a really small European country. And I personally did not expect Hungary to have such a robust AI framework. So that was one of the first key observation, that even being such a small country, even though it has a rich legacy of IT and computer science, it still is not such a big player in the international arena. But yet it has very comprehensive AI framework. That was my first key observation. My second observation was Hungary is one of the few countries which has combined AI governance with building of AI infrastructure. So the global trend is that many countries are trying to regulate AI, but not many are investing in AI infrastructure. Hungary is one of the few countries who is also investing in building AI infrastructure while trying to regulate it. And lastly, I think the laws of Hungary, it shows that uh, even though many laws can be extended to apply to AI, there are interpreting them with AI, as I said, with different nature of AI, with black box problem and every other aspects like that, creates interpretative gaps.
All right. Thank you. We'll be moving ahead to the next.
Okay.
Thank you for the clarification, Param. We further move on to our next presenter, and she is Shelja Suchismita. She's a student, she's a researcher, and okay, she's an independent researcher, and her country of research is Spain. So, Shelja, please, you may present now.
I hope I'm audible and visible as well.
Yes, you are.
Okay, so my designated country is Spain, one of the leading countries in the AI policy and governance, and also happens to be playing the FIFA World Cup finals tonight. Um, so, Introducing Spain. Spain is currently going to have an AI adoption, which is being aggressively pursued to boost the national productivity. As the ICT sector in Spain currently accounts for only 4.1% of the national GVA. This is due to a demographic pressure and a productivity deficit. Spain has an aging population, which is projected to reduce the active workforce by 1.5 million by 2040, accelerating the need to automate public services and healthcare. There is also a technological baseline. Spain boosts robust physical infrastructure, including 90% broadband coverage and massive supercomputing investments. This was the current scenario. Moving on to the institutional architecture, the governance framework. Spain's governance framework reflects a decentralized, multi authority ecosystem. This matrix can be better understood by the diagram on the slide. First of all, Spain's SEDIA, via the Ministry of Digital Transformation, acts as a policy architect and designs the national strategy for AI governance. Secondly, AESIA acts as the primary enforcer, managing the marketing surveillance. Third, AEPD acts as the primary guardian, oversees biometrics, automated profiling, and GDPR intersections. Lastly, there are sectoral regulators such as the CNMV for securities, Banco de España for automated lending, and CGPR for judicial process, which act as domain experts, holding together the AI governance fabric of Spain. Moving on to the major laws and institutional governance model of Spain. Let's now talk how it all started. In 2021, Spain had a pioneering labor law called the Rider Law, establishing statutory rights to algorithmic transparency for automated employment decisions. In 2023, Spain launched Europe's first ever dedicated Spain agency completely for supervision of AI, known as ASIA. In 2024, Spain deployed EU's first AI regulatory sandbox, allowing empirical control testing of high-risk systems prior to full market deployment. In 2026, Spain released PLOIA because the state rejected monopoly and therefore implemented decentralization through legacy regulations. This framework can be more understood by a legal stack which Spain has, by the harmonization ceiling, the domestic bridge, and the fundamental rights and the sectoral law. Moving on to my key findings from this research, Spain indeed has a first mover advantage. Then Spain has a proactive regulatory governance and a decentralized innovation ecosystem, shaping the de facto standards. But on the consumption side, there is a critical capacity and talent gap, as the adoption rates are quite lower in the micro and SMEs, creating a vast gap between the potential and the actual output. To reach the optimum productivity, which is now being hindered by a severe shortage of specialized talent, urgent need for AI talent development program has also been a key finding and would be a recommendation. Moving on to the major challenges, the legal and policy gaps. First major challenge for Spain is its labor bifurcation, as I already said. Large corporations only have a 40% adoption, and SMEs lag at 4.6 to 9.4% adoption, which creates a two-tier economy. There are regulatory voids as well, with PLOIA still navigating the parliament, and because of this, there are fragmented sectoral laws for maximum domestic sanctions. This highly decentralized state structure risks territorial fragmentation via uneven enforcement and infrastructural monopolies. The policy recommendations would be to massively, first of all, scale the SME funding to ensure that AI functions as a worker complement and not as a substitute. Secondly, to create fast-track sandbox entry and simplify the compliance pathways for micro and SMEs to prevent regulatory capture by large tech firms. Make people more aware about AI and inject AI literacy directly into their vocational training. Harmonize the regulation and regional policy so that fragmentation reduces, thereby reducing the domestic divergence. In conclusion, in conclusion of the whole AI governance thing, Spain establishes itself as a pioneering leader in European digital regulation. It successfully balances strict public safety and data protection standards with supportive infrastructure to foster responsible innovation. Although there is scope for development, I think Spain is doing pretty well in its governance framework. Thank you for your time and being such patient listeners. I'm open to questions.
Okay, fellow, what are your key observations and findings?
Sir, first of all, my key observation would be that Spain indeed has a first mover advantage, as AESIA became fully operational on June 19, 2024, which was 6 full weeks before the EU AI Act even entered into the force. So they do have the first mover advantage. They are in the game since a very long time. They have a proactive regulatory governance. They have strict rules and laws, but there is a critical capacity risk on the consumption side. Like not many people are aware of AI. Not many people are adopted to AI or to work into or to like incorporate AI into their works. So if there is a better AI talent development program to introduce AI into the day-to-day lives of the people, it would be a better program. It would be a better policy. Other than that, so there is a massive capacity gap. Like there is a there only 8% of people have adopted AI, so that is there. It also has a decentralized innovative system, which is very nice, so that there is de facto standards are shaped.
All right. Thank you for your
That's it.
presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shailaja, for your presentation. That was a wonderful one. Next, we will move forward with Chandrakant Chalvari. She is a student from the Department of Law, Savitribai Phule, Pune University, and her country of research is Israel. Anjali, you may present now.
Fellow, kindly turn on your camera and unmute yourself and share your presentation. Fellow, are you present? Okay, host would be moving ahead with Abhishek. This fellow seems to have some issue.
All right, sure. Abhishek, are you there? If at all, you may start to present. Abhishek Jahan, he's a student from Central University of
The only
Himachal Pradesh.
problem is that the thing is my PPT is not getting uploaded. I'm trying for it, but I also tried to
Sure.
upload the PDF, but it is not uploading. Can you spare me some time, please?
Yeah, sure, Abhishek, sure. All right, then we will move ahead with the next. Mohabir Sahu. Mohabir Sahu, moving ahead with the next presenter. Manasa Komuri.
Mom, just give me
Fellow,
1 minute.
All right, sure. So
fellow,
Manasa
kindly mute
Komuri
yourself.
is
Yes.
a student, and she's a student of Presidency University, and her country of research is Luxembourg.
All the fellows who have been present in the waiting room, kindly keep your presentation slides ready. We will not wait next time. Yes, fellow, are you ready now? Kindly unmute and turn on your camera. Although you are not visible. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you can start with your presentation.
One second. So my slides aren't changing. One second.
Since you are presenting your screen, the slides will change as per you changes in your screen.
Yes, sir. I'm trying to change.
There has to be some issue with your slides. Okay, if the same thing persists, we have to move on to the next participant. We can move ahead with Mahavir Sahu, host.
Yes, I have called on him. Mahavir Sahu. I believe he is having some technical issues in joining. Mahabir
Uh,
Sahu.
yes, we are having Mahabir Sam. Yes.
All right. So Mahabir Sahu, he's a student and he's a student from Udainath Autonomous College of Science and Technology, affiliated by Utkal University, and his country of research is Poland. Mahabir, you may start presenting now.
Hello, I'm audible.
Yes, you are audible and visible.
Hello, you can start with your
Hello,
presentation. Your time starts now.
hello. Good morning, dear sir and ma'am. Uh, I have my allotted country is Poland, and the research focus area is the rapidly expanding tech ecosystem with evolving national strategy on industrial automation, and we have uh, sorry. Actually, some technical issue. Introduction of my country, latter country, it's Poland. A digital asymmetric version of the we will be find that in the Poland 1989 they performed the old age the states digitally demerit have they in 1997 they implement the data protection and communication. After that he evolved seriously. Um in again in 2022 due to war conflicts of Ukraine and Russia, they diverts their attention to after that and the interesting question is in 2004 they joined European Union access implement and use their use mm, digital fundings are given by European Union. After that they implementing, but in that time the basic digital skills is lower, um, lower the below average of European Union, which is 44.3%. But the European average is 55%. Poland's why adopt the AI? Automation is necessary to people to understand and proceed in the businesses and defense inside also, but they have the infrastructure, but they have the low quality of devices and gadgets. But after that they come back and in nearly 2020 they implement the rules its own. It is the primary milestone of the Poland. They also use that. And the after European Union joining, uh, he joined also in NATO due to confliction in 2022. Sovereign Union is strategy resilience. Growth model is the 1989 is the factor accumulation models slowly productivity growth needs a new engine, and their industrial automation gaps is average is 8%, but the Poland is much lower in 3.7%. A policy and governance framework from the aspirant integrated strategy. In December 2020, policy AI meeting adopted and resolution 196. After that, August 2024, UI Act enters into force, bans Poland directly.
Fellow, you had exceeded the time. Kindly conclude.
Mahabir, yes, you may conclude. Your time is now up.
After the research focus ecosystem, sovereign LLM also they build. After that, Bradley can due to IT profession, we have the more than 6 lakh. Um, Google and Poland, Microsoft also built their industry. Also, CRIPSI, the family members as GDPR, copyright, civil score is a part of the CRIPSI. Also, a small of their KNF, UKE, CREAT, UK, and something else are there. Regulated sandboxes is the provide the experimental purposes to um, provide uh, easy to access the experimentation of a regulation. Derive the and the necessary is not the enthusiasm. Derive the reach.
Okay, fellow, we
Is the
cannot take your presentation any further. Thank you for your presentation. You had already exceeded the time frame. Thank you. We can move ahead to
All
the next
right.
part.
Thank you, Mahabir Sahu. Now, next we have Mitali Dral. Okay, Mitrali Dral. She is a student from Bharati Vidyapeeth Institute of Management and Research, and her country of research is Taiwan. Mitrali, you may start presenting now.
Yes. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Myself Mitali, and my today's topic is the Taiwan model of AI
Hello, your
regulation.
presentation slide is
Talking,
not visible now.
so the slide is not visible.
No, it's not visible.
So now is it visible?
No, it's not yet visible.
So,
Yes, it's visible now. You can start.
okay. Good morning, everyone. Myself Mitali Char, and my today's topic of research is the Taiwan model of AI regulation. Now, talking about Taiwan, imagine a future where every government service, defense operation, and financial transactions in hospital depends on AI. This question in reality exists in Taiwan. I want to start with the reality. Like in 2024, Taiwan faced 3,500 plus AI related cyber attacks targeting critical infrastructure, which is not just a tech issue but a sovereignty issue. Taiwan, because of its unique geopolitical position and technological strength, has become one of the world's most fascinating examples of sovereign AI governments. Now, moving over to the next slide. The 90% of the world's leading edge microchips are produced in Taiwan. Hence, Taiwan is called the Silicon Shield, which provides physical infrastructure powering the global AI. Whereas the algorithmic shield, transitioning from an OEM hardware monopoly, is self reliant architecture of sovereign data and data governance infrastructures. Talking about the Taiwan AI Action Plan, It is basically focused on over three pillars. First is infrastructure, which talks about high performance computing, data centers, and cloud resources. Secondly is the research and innovation, which talks about the universities, industry partnerships, and government funding. And third is the talent cultivation, which bridges training engineers, upskilling workforce, and the AI education. Talking about the ethical AI. The ethical AI must be human centric. It must prioritize the human beings and their oversights in high stakes scenarios. The next is the responsible innovation, which talks about how companies should test AI before the public deployment. Next comes transparency, like if AI rejects someone's loan application, citizens deserve to know the reason why. Next comes the fairness. Recruitment AI should not discriminate against women or the minorities. It should be equal, just and fair for everyone. Next is sustainability. The large AI models consume high electricity. Taiwan promotes the green AI infrastructure. Moving on to the next slide, the decentralized matrix drives sectoral execution. It explains the technological sovereignty, like domestic AI compute capability, the open policies which are adopted by Taiwan, it examples by a real case like in Israel's AI sector, it thrived because they invested in domestic compute post 2006 when the US reported exports. Now the Israel has 6,000 plus AI startups and Taiwan is using this as a blueprint. The MODA Ministry of Digital Affairs, the PDPC Personal Data Protection Commission, the FSC Financial Supervisory Commission and the MOHW Ministry of Health and Welfare, they work jointly together in the NSTC, the National Science and Technology Council under Taiwan, which helps the central competent authority. It is a strategic cross managerial coordinator advised by Executive Yuan's National AI Strategy Special Committee. Moving on to the protecting the sovereign ecosystem. How a sovereign ecosystem can be protected is that AI infrastructure is now considered critical national infrastructure. It is being protected by the NCCT, National Core Critical Technologies, where advanced semiconductor fabrication and proprietary algorithms are being protected by the National Securities Act and the export controls. The AI infrastructure is now considered critical, and Taiwan protects the chips, the cloud bases, the government databases, and the critical infrastructure information, the telecommunications using multiple layers of cyber defense. Talking about a real example in the year 2024 to 2025, cyber attacks against Taiwan attributed to state-backed actors. Now, next slide talks about the semantic interoperability as a defense mechanism. Imagine India and Japan both built healthcare AI systems. If each system stores patient records differently, then they cannot communicate. Semantic interoperability ensures different AI systems speak the same language. The strategy here is used from both the UN and the ISO that Taiwan utilizes unilateral domestication of foreign standards. Moving on to
Mitrali,
sovereign
your
capabilities.
time is kind of over. So could you please conclude it?
Yes, ma'am, surely. Moving towards the conclusion, the future of global AI governments, the roots of trust. By all these problems, we can understand that Taiwan is not just trying to innovate the US or out of control of China. Taiwan's competitive advantage is the trustworthiness in a mistrustful world. It is building something very unique. It is called the Silicon Shield. It provides the chips, the silicon, which are the basis and the roots of the development and governance under the AI framework model. Moving towards a conclusion, I would like to conclude that any company which is denied compliance can sue under the Taiwan Act, and the courts, not politicians, make final decisions on what legitimate AI governance is. Basically, it helps. The Taiwan framework helps the legislative sunset clauses, transparency requirements, and international monitoring. The civil society veto is also provided. Thus, Taiwan helps us to know about the fabricated chips to guarantee data integrity. Thank you.
Thank you, Mitrali Dral. If anybody has any questions for her.
Yes, fellow, what are the
Yes,
two
sir.
findings you have in your study?
Okay, sir. So, talking about my two findings, in the study, I found that Taiwan is the Silicon Shield, which not many of the students, or we can say the citizens, were not aware about. That Taiwan is the Silicon Shield. It is the main basis which helps us to know what AI is, what is the development of the AI, how AI is made at the root level. Secondly, one of my findings was on competition, that Taiwan does not need out innovate the US or the China. Taiwan needs the most trustworthy AI ecosystem in a mistrustful world. Taiwan is very much stronger as compared to the other countries in sense of protecting AI data, cloud computing systems, chip security, and many other AI related works. Next was like on risks. Risk. The biggest risk is that Taiwan does not move slowly on AI governments. It is that Taiwan moves a little bit on the intricacy level, working more betterment towards the hardware systems, which creates a better monopoly over the software in the country.
All right. Thank you, Mridali. That was a very insightful presentation. Now we would move on to our next presenter. She is Bhumika Jiswani, a student from Maharaja Agrasen Institute of Management Studies from Guru Gobind Singh IPU, and she's having the country Philippines as a research country. So, Bhumika, you may present now.
Yes, am I audible now?
Yes, you are audible. Your slides are visible.
Okay. So, good morning, the respected panel. I am Bhumika Jaswani from Maharaja Agrasen Institute of Management Studies, and today I'll be presenting on the from soft laws to the laws, assessing the legislative path for AI governance in the Philippines. So, artificial intelligence is transforming industries of the government around the world. While AI creates many opportunities, it also raises the concern about the privacy, transparency, accountability, and regulation. In this presentation, I'll be discussing about the AI ecosystem in the Philippines. It is the current legal framework, what it is using, the proposed AI frameworks which are being proposed in the AI laws, the key challenges, and the way forward. So first, the historical evolution and the telecom market landscape. So I would like to draw attention on that while discussing the AI importance to understand the country's digital background. The Philippines telecom sector has developed in three major stages. The first is the colonial period with the telegraphs and the telephone system, then the liberalization around 1987, and finally the digital rapid growth came after 2000. Today the country is important IT BPM hub. However, it still faces challenges such as the limited broadband access and the expensive digital infrastructure which affects the AI development. Third, the Philippines AI ecosystem. Around 86% of the knowledge workers use the AI tools, which is even higher than the global average. The government introduced the National Strategy Roadmap for the AI in 2.0 in 2024, which guides the AI development. The research is supported by the Center of Research, which universities, including the University of Philippines, De La Salle University, and many other universities. Then the IT BPM sector, which is a major driver of the AI growth and contributes significantly to the country's economy. Now we come to the current AI regulation and the soft laws which are used by the country. So majorly the Philippines rely on the Data Privacy Act, Intellectual Property Code, and the Civil Code. There are no such specific legalized guidelines by the government, but for the enforcement of the AI dedicated laws, these are the few things which are used by the government. Next, moving forward to the legislative landscape, in this year 2026, around 50 bills have been proposed in the House, including some of them are the House Bill 6423, responsible for the AI Act, then the Senate Bill for the AIRA, the Artificial Intelligence Regulatory Act, the House Bill of the AI National Code. These are the few of the important bills which have been introduced in the House relating to the AI legislative landscape. Next comes the institutional governance. These are the few governance which guide how the AI should be protected and regulated in the Philippines. Some of them are the NPC, NPC is the National Privacy Commission, which protects the personal data. Then comes the DTI. DTI is the Department of Trade and Industry, promotes the AI innovation. And then comes the DICT and CSC, guides the ethical use of AI in the government. Then the Supreme Court also introduces the AI framework for the judiciary, and the central banks regulate the use in the financial. Next, we come to the sectoral deployment. AI in the different sectors is already being used in many sectors. In the public sector, it supports the government services and welfare programs. In intellectual property, AI cannot be listed as an inventor under the IPO PHL guidelines. In the labor sector, automation may replace many jobs in the future. The IT BPM sector is adopting AI to improve the efficiency. With the gig economy, is raising the concern about the algorithms and transparency of the workers' right. Now, the major critical challenges which the Philippines is facing are, despite its progress, the Philippines is facing several challenges, which may include the limited government preparedness, data privacy issues, online gender based violence, the digital divide, and need for the dedicated AI regulatory system on which the Philippines is still working to figure out. At the end, but not the at last but not least, the summary and the conclusion include that the Philippines has built a strong foundation through the soft laws to the policy guidelines. However, the AI has become more powerful and widely used. The soft laws are not alone sufficient. The clear legislation and stronger coordination among the government agencies and inclusive digital development are essential for the AI governance. By moving from the soft laws to the hard laws, the Philippines can create AI ecosystem that is ethically innovative and beneficial for the society. Thank you. I would be happy to answer the questions.
Okay, fellow, what are your key observations throughout this research project?
So my key observation from this research is that the Philippines has not yet got the growth. It is still working on the AI ecosystem. Recently, it has received many bills in the House. There are around 50 bills, and out of which there are House bills for the AI National Code and ERA, which will be very effective if they are implemented further.
All right, thank you for your presentation.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Bhumika. That was a very insightful presentation. We would like to move to our next presenter. Our next, okay, our next presenter is Sanskruti Bosali. She's a student from School of Law, Dhirubhai Ambani University, and her country of research is Cyprus. So, Sanskruti, you may go and present next.
Um, Good morning, everyone. My topic is artificial intelligence, law, policy, and governance in Cyprus. So, basically, when we talk about the Cyprus, it is a country where it is much of the oriented around the services, which includes maritime, it may be shipment or finance services. When we talk about Cyprus as a whole, it went from the phases like foundation to the catalyst. It pre-foundation, which was they adopted and joined the AI EU in 2004, but before that it had a very good foundation, which was dependent upon the services, the fiber optics, which was under the sea, and positioning of the cyber in the Eastern Mediterranean communication hubs. But when they shifted in 2004 to the EU alignments, it was really hard at it was forced to the market liberalization. And currently they also have the independent regulatory bodies like OECRPC and other bodies like DMIRD. So they are standing on their foot and also pushing the policies towards the labor upskilling as the main motive of the country. I see is they want to upskill their labors and they don't really want to replace it by the AI. So their whole AI policy is surrounded upon the upskilling and not replacing, which is very attractive policy as long as we talk about the AI replacing the humans today. When we talk about the 2024 National AI Strategy, they concluded with the five pillars which help them in the execution. They focused on the public services digitalization, ethical safeguards, private sector competitiveness, and the national data spaces, and human capital cultivation, which was the basic and the base of their policy further. And they also had the service stations installed like SISIC and other which were actually the in-house service stations, which also helped their policies to bring the upskilling of the laborers in and out. When we talk about the governance metric enforcing the EU Act, the EU Act regulation, which was actually adopted in 2024, before this also they also hardly were able to adopt it due to the service sector and inauguration there, but they totally depend upon the DMIRD, which was aligned with the European Artificial Intelligence Board, which were focusing on the policy drafting. OCR CPR, which was into market surveillance, which was pushing them towards the implementation, and Data Protection Commissioner, which was specialized in authorized overseeing, which was also in the employment and labor formation and biometric. So it was also protecting the privacy and also going ahead with the policy making, which was also focused on the upskilling. Further, when we move to the sectoral execution, which was focused on the tourism and public infrastructure, and tourism being the basic service in the Cyprus, the primary architect was widespreading the deployment of the natural language processing. But here the problem was they didn't really have the machine learning and tech oriented staff in their core base. So they also the policy is shifting towards that, which will be executed in 2026 August. And a strategic objective, which was the deployment of the digital twin model after the Singapore for the urban management, pedestrian and traffic distribution of the predict travel influx. Further, the regulatory posture and caution development also focused on shifting the what we say the onus of proving the point. If AI goes wrong somewhere, it shifted its onus on the operator rather than the person who was the claimant, who was actually the person who was suffering from this deployment problem. So this was a big move, and it also focused on the sandbox further. Further, when we talk about the statutory positioning, it also claimed the civil liability, which was also says that mostly when you talk about the problem in AI deployment, the onus is always upon the person who is the claimant. But here they shifted it to the operator, knowing the fact that the in and outs were all in the hands of operator, as long as the claimant can prove that it is completely happened after the deployment and after human loop. So further, when we talk about the financial services and fintech, the automated high frequency trading algorithm, which also gave the very cut through deadlines and timelines that they have to prove the automated trading systems and do the market surveillance and all the human loop surveillance before 1st July 2026. The SISEC AI roadmap establishes the non-negotiable timeline for the same, and the full compliance with the market and crypto assets were also given. Further, the systematic frictions and operation, which also talked about the legal voids and the algorithm black box, as the algorithm black box was the first reason where the onus on from the claimant was shifted to the operators, and the faults during the software based operational statements were also monitored highly. When we talk about the policy intervention bridging the governance gaps, the first gap we see here is that the privacy gap. Because when we talk about the AI, it needs the huge AI data to flow in and out to train the data models. But when we talk about the privacy laws, it actually says, especially the UE laws, which are basically a most strict
I am
privacy laws.
sorry to interrupt, but your time is up, so
Yeah.
kindly conclude.
Yeah, so basically the privacy laws which actually goes in the conflict, which is data minimization. So further, when we conclude the the good thing about the Cypress is it is not really focusing on the AI replacement, but it's actually focusing on the upskilling, and also the filling. They are also trying to fill the gap with the temporary regulations before they actually adopt or UE Act comes into the enforcement. So it is focusing on the alignment with the enforcement with the sovereign infrastructure as well as the service oriented sector, which is upscaling the maritime and the shipments. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Does anybody has a question for the presenter?
Okay, fellow, what are your observations throughout this research project?
Yes, so basically, when you talk about the Cyprus is rapidly aligning with the EU Act as well as its positioning itself in the temporary. But the major gap is the service-oriented digital hub, which faces the several operational frictions due to the critical talent deficit, which I mentioned was that they are not able to upscale it. Due to the lack of ML, that is machine learning staff, and tech law staff. Furthermore, the deep GDPR paradox, which lacks the civil liability laws, which is again surrounded around the data minimization and conflict with the AI data training, which needs the flow of AI. So they are working on it, but the balance is aggressively missing here in the innovation.
All right. Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Now we will move on to our next presenter. Our next presenter is Veerapadena Bhagyashree. She is a student from Jawaharlal Nehru Technological University and her country of research is Iceland. Uh, Bhagyashree, kindly start presenting.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, fellow, kindly share your presentation and also turn on your camera. You are not visible. You are not visible.
Sir, am I audible?
Yes, you are audible, but you are not visible.
All right, you may
Yes.
start presenting now. You're audible and visible. Your slides are visible, and your 5 minutes would be starting from now on.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. I am Veerabatna Bhagyashree. My presentation is on Iceland's AI policy and governance. Artificial intelligence is transforming industries around the world, but every country facing the challenges of balancing innovation with the ethical and legal responsibilities. Iceland is an interesting case because it is abundant renewable energies, a strong commitment to a sustainable and a small population. Instead of competing with the larger countries in AI development, Iceland focuses on developing a global leader in green computing, protecting its national language, and working closely with the Nordic and countries. Now, the policy time in 2021, Iceland introduced its national AI strategy which promotes a human-centric approach where AI should benefit society while respecting ethics and human rights. Next, the 2025 to 2027 AI Action Plan introduced 25 specific measures and regular reviews to ensure progress. At the same time, Iceland follows internationally recognized ethical principles, including the OECD AI principles and the Nordic Declaration, which emphasizes transparency, accountability, fairness, and responsible AI. Although Iceland has several laws related to AI, it still does not have a dedicated AI laws. Currently, data privacy is protected under a GDPR, while other existing laws regulate sectors like finance and telecommunication. The European Union has introduced the EU AI Act, which provides a comprehensive AI regulations. However, Iceland is not yet legally bounded by its because the act still needs to be officially adapted in the European Economic Area of EEA. It's because the act still needs to be officially adapted into the European areas. Until this happens, Iceland relieves on separate sectoral laws rather than one AI frameworks. Its renewable energy infrastructure provides a excellent foundation for AI development. Government investments of around 5 million US dollars supports AI research and innovations. The country is highly effective. Data centers also attract international investments. However, governments has not developed at the same place. While infrastructure continues expanding, strong regulations, skilled oversighting, and better institutional capacity are needed to ensure AI benefits society responsibility. First, because the EU AI Act has not been yet been adopted, there is uncertainty about the future AI regulation. Secondly, regulatory authorities currently have a limited AI audacity, expertising, and resources. The third one is Iceland's public data ability is relatively low, making it difficult to train a domestic AI models. Finally, Iceland is considered a low resource language without the, without deciding support. AI system may overlook the language, creating a risk of digital exclusion and reducing its presence in future technologies. The third, first is Iceland should quickly complete the EU AI Policy Act implementation and clearly assign regulation authorities. Secondly, it should establish a national AI regulator sandbox with the companies can safely test AI innovations under a supervision. The third thing is part of the revenue generated from a green AI data centers should support a public
Fellow, I am
research.
so sorry to interrupt, but your time is up. Kindly continue.
Okay, ma'am. In conclusion, AI has a unique strength that can make it a global leader in a sustainable AI. Its renewable energies, resources, environmental friendly infrastructure, and committed to ethical AI provide a strong foundation. However, achieving AI well requires stronger regulatories, investments in governance, protection of the Icelandic language, and continued international cooperations. By balancing the innovations with the responsibilities, Iceland can build an AI ecosystem that benefits both its civilizations and wider global communities. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay,
All right,
participant.
thank you.
Yes.
Yeah,
Fellow.
sir, you have the question?
Yes, I am having one
Okay, ma'am.
Sure,
question.
sir.
Fellow, specifically talking about Iceland, Iceland is having ample of opportunities towards the data center because the situation, the complete country is situated in such cold regions where the number of global companies are looking into it. So, what is your view regarding the policies or the guidelines the country is having on the data centers? Yes, fellow. Okay, we lost the connection with her. We can move ahead with the next fellow.
All right, it's all right. We would move ahead. But before moving ahead, thank you to all our fellows who have participated in this session and mentorship under the AI Policy Research Fellowship. We shall now continue with the next set of presentations. And our next presenter is Komari Manasa. Komari Manasa is a student. So if she's ready, she can start presenting now. And her country for research is Luxembourg.
Yes, fellow,
Yes, sir.
you are not
Your
visible.
camera is not on.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yes, you can
All
start with
right,
your
you're
presentation.
visible.
I'm audible
Yes.
also?
Yes, you may start, and your time also starts now.
Okay. So, good morning, respected panel and fellow presenters. This is Manasa Pomori, and my research country is Luxembourg, with data hosting, high performance computing governance, and financial sector AI regulation as the key pillars of focused areas. The paper is titled Infrastructure as Governance, with reflecting the central argument. Luxembourg governs AI control of physical as much through control of physical infrastructure as through legislation. Moving on to the next slide. Luxembourg is a small open economy that has restructured itself before twice. First, from the steel to finance services in the early 1970s and 80s, and the second shift is from financial services to digital infrastructure beginning in the 2006. The second shift is the direct precedent to its current AI strategy. Three figures anchor this. The financial sector contributes roughly a quarter of GDP. Luxembourg has the highest density of Tier 4 data centers in Europe and severe labor shortages, driven by over 2 lakh daily cross-border commuters, are stated as the driver of the automation policy. AI policy and governance framework. Luxembourg has no standalone AI statute. The framework operates in three layers. First, the EU AI law applies directly as a hard law. Second, the draft law of 8476 submitted in December 2024 and it's still pending is intended to establish the domestic implementing structure which the regulator has authority, how enforcement works, how administrators regulate sandboxes. Third, sector-specific circulars, particularly from CSSF and CNPD, govern practice in the meantime. This deliberate regulatory philosophy. This is a deliberate regulatory philosophy, not a gap. Luxembourg has chosen to expand the mandate of existing sector regulators rather than creating a single new air authority. The major laws and regulations in Luxembourg. This is the full list of this is the full instrument list is on the slide. I'll highlight two of them. The draft law 8476 is a pending domestic implementing legislation, and CSSF circular 26 by 906 issued this January and effective this June is a current example of sectorial approach. It sets governance and risk control requirements, including three lines of defense model, uh, and looking after the payment and e-money institutions deploying algorithmic systems. The key findings, in data hosting and high performance computing governance is that these two categories are the physical layer underneath the framework. On the computing slide, on the compute slide, Meluxina is operational since 2021, and Meluxina AI, a 112 million euro dollar system co-founded with Euro HPC joint undertaking, launched this year. And on the sovereign cloud side, we have Clarence and Deep OVHC Cloud, which is a joint partnership with Lux Connect and Proximus, as a 180 million euro dollars with 6 years of sovereign contract. The regulatory link the regulatory link is the most common thing between both the categories. which um which is undertaken by Circular 26 by 906, which requires financial institutions to keep decision making function physically inside the Luxembourg. The point of this slide is that Luxembourg treats infrastructure ownership itself as a governance mechanism, not simply as an economic asset. In the financial sector, this this data shows us how Luxembourg
I'm
deals with
sorry to interrupt. I'm sorry to interrupt. Your time is over. You may kindly conclude.
yes. So this data shows us that Luxembourg, the key issue between Luxembourg is that uh, the gap is with the governance, not with the technology or not with the adoption of new technologies, but with the static gaps in the regulatory frameworks or with the absence of domestic law. And moving to the gaps and challenges, these are the more key challenges which which are found throughout the research. The most consequential is the legislative delay. The draft law of 8476 remains pending, while the European AI deadlines have already taken effect. Second one is the CNDP has itself flagged ambiguity in its own default jurisdiction. Third one, Luxembourg's competition authority has stated the annual inter-agency report is too low to catch the fast-moving algorithmic market. And the fourth and the last one is that financial governance lacked shown on the previous slide. Each of these is drawn directly from the regulatory record. These gaps shows that Luxembourg's own institutions have identified not external critic.
All right, Minasa. Thank you so much. Anybody has any questions for her?
Yes, fellow, like since you had pointed out those gaps, what are the solution these gaps you are looking for?
The solutions is that it would be means the draft law which is pending. If this coming to the effect, it overcomes mostly all the gaps I have found. Basically, the CSSF circulation, because Luxembourg is currently moving on with EUA Act and the sectorial divided regulations like Ministry of Digitalization. They have their own ways of moving forward with technology, but there is no static improvement through in collective, not Luxembourg as whole, but Luxembourg's Ministry of Digitalization, Ministry of Finance. In sectors they are improving, but together as a whole of Luxembourg, there is no improvement in the AI policies.
Okay, thank you for your presentation.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Komari. The next presenter we have with us is Abhishek Chauhan. Abhishek Chauhan is a student from Central University of Himachal Pradesh and his country of research is Thailand. Abhishek, you may start presenting now.
Am I audible?
Yes, Abhishek, you're audible, but you're not visible, but your slide is also visible.
I'm visible too, right?
No, we cannot see you, Abhishek.
Wait.
Okay, due to technical issue, it might be loading. You can start with your presentation.
Okay, sir. So first of all, I would like to thank the CDIPR, the Center for Development of Intellectual Property Rights, for giving me this opportunity. Today, I am presenting a clear and detailed look at the Thailand's AI laws and policies, which will show that how Thailand, as a nation, is managing the risk of this powerful technology while driving its economy forward. So Thailand currently is facing a silver tsunami because Thailand is transitioning from a low income to the middle income trap, but it is currently experiencing a middle income trap due to the labor scarcity. The fertility rate is dropped to 1.16, and which is a indication that by 2029 the manual workforce will not be that much in Thailand. So they have to transition it to the automation or the use of AI. Uh, as you can see the slide, that they need the AI. The 74% of the Thais organization has actionable and have some AI plans. Whereas by 2030 they have a AI market of 114 billion Thai bars. Like where in the third slide that I would like to show you that the sovereign AI economy. To carefully manage growth, the government launched the National AI Strategy, an initiative which is led by the Prime Minister of the Thailand. And this plan rests on the five core pillars, like the creating clear laws and ethical guidelines, building strong technological infrastructure, training the human workforce, pushing from new research development, and getting public and private sector to adopt AI. Currently, the state is fully committed to this transition. In just 2024 fiscal year, the government funded around 95 AI projects with a budget nearly 5 billion Thai baht. And so the citizen on board authorities also launched the Thangrat, a digital platform which quickly reached to 10 million registration users. The Thailand also launched its supercomputer, which is ranked 70th in the whole world, and with that they are training their Thai LLM and the cultural AI. They believe that the Western countries may be biased, and they will misrepresent their data or the language or the culture. So they are training their LLM by themselves. Also, they made a rule that if any foreign company wants to establish their AI company or AI launch their AI tool, they have to involve a regional leader or a regional people, which can give it a shape toward according to the culture of their identity. Currently, Thailand have since March 1st, 2026, they have their Thailand AI Act BE 2569, which have three tiers of risks, and it is modeled closely to the European Union AI Act. So the first tier is unacceptable risk, which involves the dangerous applications like social scoring systems, secret cognitive manipulations, and the public facial recognition are strictly banned. The high risk important system used in healthcare diagnosis, hiring, or the banking sector should compliance with the rules of state. Crucially, the foreign AI companies must appoint a local legal representative right there in the Thailand if they want to work. And the limited risk section, tools like the chatbot AI image generators or the deep fakes should label with the watermark on the deep fakes to prevent the fraud. Uh, now the intersecting laws, like they have few laws which are intersecting with this AI law. So the first one is the Personal Data Protection Act, stops companies from using personal data without permission. The government even uses an automated ELI web crawler that scans 24/7 the internet, like which company is stealing the data. The other law that is intersecting with the Cybersecurity Act, which forces vital industries like the
Abhishek,
energy and the
your time is up. You may kindly conclude.
Okay, just give me a few seconds. Uh, the third law is the Competition Commission of Thailand. And finally, to protect the justice system, new rules hold lawyers personally and professionally responsible if they submit an AI-generated fake facts known as hallucination to the court. So the key findings that I would like to highlight is that Has built a highly effective hybrid approach to regulate AI. Uh, and also, the state offers AI regulatory sandboxes. These are safe testing zones where startups can try out high risk AI models without facing immediate penalties. Uh, Currently, there is a shortage of 80,000 skilled AI workers, and there are void in Copyright Act. Like Thai laws do not explicitly allow text and data mining. This means local developers risk being sued for copyright infringement. The liability void, the nation's product safety laws only cover physical goods. If a piece of intangible or standalone AI software makes a harmful mistake, victims face a nearly impossible burden of proof in the court. The surveillance loophole. The privacy law has a broad exemption for the state security. Now, the major policy recommendation that I would like to highlight, the modernization of the copyright laws, uh, the bridge the liability gap. State must update safety laws so that the harmful AI software is explicitly treated as the defective product. Close the surveillance loophole. The government must mandate independent human rights assessment before the police or the state agencies can deploy AI surveillance. The streamline compliance, regulatory bodies need to create a single unified compliance portal. At last, I would like to just conclude. In conclusion, like the Thailand is creating a definitive master plan for developing nation that want to escape the middle income trap. The state is successfully balancing strict European style safety rules with aggressive government investment in local technology and computing power. By this, they want to join the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development by the 2030. They have this goal in their AI governance model.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you so much, Abhishek. Anybody has any question for Abhishek?
Yeah, fellow, you have mentioned that the Thailand has came up with a number of regulatory sandboxes. So, what are those regulatory sandboxes the Thailand is currently coming up and implementing it?
Sir, the major problems that I want to highlight is the intersection of this AI law. Like we know that the AI is evolving, and therefore the laws are also evolving. But it has some intersection with the Personal Data Protection Act, like the Personal Data Protection Act. But they are catering it. But there are few things like the local developers risk being sued for copyright infringement, just for scanning the data to train their model. The liability void, the nation's product safety laws only cover physical goods. If a piece of any AI software or the AI generated thing uh, uh, makes a harmful mistake, the victims doesn't face any burden or anything from the court. There is nothing like that as for now in the laws. And the surveillance loophole. The privacy law has broadened exemptions for state security, but this loophole allows the police to use facial recognition technology without mandatory transparency or human rights checks.
All right, fellow. Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you so much. We would like to move to our next presenter. Our next presenter is Aditya Shom. Aditya Shom is a researcher from Dayananda Sagar College of Engineering, and his country of research is Saudi Arabia. Aditya, you may start presenting now. Aditya, you are visible and audible, but your slides are not visible.
All right. Am I presenting?
Yes, your slides are visible. You may start presenting now, and your 5 minutes will start now.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Today I'll be presenting on the artificial law, policy, and the governmental framework of the Saudi Arabia. So, before discussing about the AI governance, it's important to understand the country's digital transformation. The Saudi Arabia strategy did not emerge overnight. It is a result of decades of investment in the telecommunication and digital infrastructure. Beginning with the Directorate of the Telegraph, Post, and the Telephone, the country gradually modernized its institutions, culminating in the Vision 2030. Vision 2030 made the digital transformation a national priority. Since then, the Saudi Arabia has achieved over 80% of the nationwide 5G coverage, invested more than $27 billion in the digital infrastructure, and developed 8 domestic technological unicorns. Saudi Arabia follows a highly centralized governance model. At the top is the Prime Minister, while the Sadia serves as the country's central AI authority. Within the Sadia, there are three specialized organizations. The National Data Management Office, or the NDMO, oversees the data governance and supervises the implementation of the Personal Data Protection Law. The National Center for the Artificial Intelligence focuses on the AI research, national strategy, and the innovation. Meanwhile, the National Information Center provides the digital infrastructure supporting the governmental AI. There are other sector-specific regulators such as SAMA, SFDA, CST, and the National Cybersecurity Authority, which continue to develop AI within their own industries. One of the most interesting aspects of the Saudi Arabia's is that it does not have a single AI act. Instead, AI governance relies specifically on several complementary instruments. The only binding legislature is the Personal Data Protection Law, or the PDPL, which regulates how the personal data can be collected, processed, and used by the AI systems. Supporting this, there are several non-binding policy documents, including the National Strategy for the Data and AI, the AI ethics principles, and the AI adoption framework. More recently, Saudi Arabia introduced generative AI guidelines, providing the practical safeguards against the issues such as hallucinations, deepfakes, and the data leakage within the governmental applications. Two important proposals are also under development: the Global AI Hub Law and the Responsible AI Policy. To understand this policies, how it operates in practice, I examined the NEOM, the Saudi Arabia's planned cognitive smart city. NEOM functions as a specific economic zone, meaning that it operates under a distinct regulatory framework, which is separate from the ordinary national administration. Its technology company, which it governs, is the Autonomous, which operates as the city's digital operating system, also called as NEOS. NEOS integrates the facial recognition, the biometric authentication, traffic monitoring, behavioral analytics, and many more, and the other services. Residents manage the data sharing through a decentralized platform called as the MELD, where personal data may be exchanged for digital services or incentives. There is currently no independent oversight authority, no clearly defined appeals mechanism for automated decisions, and no transparent processes for withdrawing the consent after the biometric information has entered the data streams. My research produced six major findings. Firstly, Saudi Arabia effectively uses soft laws as the hard laws. Although many guidelines are technically non binding, they become practically mandatory through the procedures and the licensing to the government implementations. Secondly, the Personal Data Protection Law functions as the country's primary AI regulation. Third, the governance is highly centralized under the Sadia, allowing the rapid coordination but also concentrating authority within a single institution. Next, the Saudi Arabia has invested heavily in the sovereign AI infrastructure through the partnership with the global technology companies and the domestic AI incentives. Fifth, projects like NEOM created forms of legal exceptionalism in the operating under the specialized governance arrangements. Finally, the regulatory sandboxes allow the companies to have safely test AI before the wider development, encouraging the innovation while maintaining the regulatory supervision. There are certain challenges and legal gaps which still needs to be covered. Most importantly, that Saudi Arabia still lacks a comprehensive AI law defining the legal responsibilities for the AI developers and deployers. There is also uncertainty regarding the copyright and ownership of the AI-generated content, as current proposals generally place fully AI-generated work into the public domain. Civil liabilities rules
Aditya,
remain.
I am sorry to interrupt. Your time is over. Kindly conclude.
Yeah, sure. Uh, Civil liabilities remain underdeveloped for the issues such as hallucinations and autonomous decision making, and failures involving the AI service and providers. There are certain policy recommendations that I'd like to propose. Firstly, Saudi Arabia should finalize and formally enact the responsible AI policy, creating a legal binding for the risk-based framework. Secondly, the independent oversight authority should be established, which is not currently done right now. Thirdly, the intellectual property legislation should clearly define the ownership of the AI assisted and the AI generated contents. For the civil liabilities, rules should be explicitly address the AI specific risks such as hallucination and deepfakes. Finally, the compliance procedure should be harmonized across the sectoral regulators. In the conclusion, I'd like to say instead of relying primarily on the legislation, the kingdom emphasizes centralized institution, strategic policy, documents, and strong implementation through SADIA. This approach have enabled remarkably rapid AI development and positioned Saudi Arabia as a significant global player. Moving forward, the binding AI legislation and stronger oversight mechanisms will be essential for the technological innovation that aligns with the transparency, fairness, and the public trust. So I'd like to end my presentation here, and thank you, CDPI, IEPR, for the giving me the opportunity to research on the AI governance on Saudi Arabia.
Thank you so much, Aditya. Does anybody has a question for Aditya?
Okay, yes, fellow, as we all know, Saudi Arabia is one and the first country in the world to give citizenship to a robot, to an AI, Sophia. So I have a question for you specifically. When we looked into the citizenship and giving a like same rights to a robot as a human being, there lies a conflict between the morality and the other things but specifically the liability shift. So what is your understanding, like how far the Saudi Arabia and the AI ethical principles are coming up forth for the artificial intelligence and all these rules regulations within it regarding AI ethics?
Yeah, so primarily, if we're trying to segregate the permissions and the rights which are given between the robotics and the humans, primarily see that the act which has been passed from the government are very centralized and not divided into different sectors. So just as I discussed, the NEOM has also a kind of a sectorial and a centralized management over the by the help of the MELD, where it does not totally give a primary control for the users to act over the information that has been given upon their consent after it has entered the data streams and for the training purposes. So after and also I have discussed that there is a significant discussion and yet to be uh, some regulations which are still to be finalized about what should be the AI content, and the AI regulated and AI generated content which are published in the society should be into the public domain or into the private sectors which are creating it. So it still has to be like finalized by the central government or the Sadia.
All right, thank you for your presentation.
All right, thank you, Aditya. So we will move onwards to our next presenter. Our next presenter is Archita Prajita, and she is a student from Symbiosis Law School, Pune, and her country of research is Indonesia. So, Archita, you may start presenting now. Archita, you are audible and visible, but we cannot see your slides.
Yes. Just give me a second. Am I audible and visible and my slides are visible?
Yes, Archita, you may start presenting now, and your time would be starting now.
All right. Okay. 17,000 islands, one government, and a bet that algorithms may finally become the glue that holds the world's largest archipelago together. That bet has a name: Golden Indonesia 2045. A very good morning to the panel. I am Archita Prajita, and for the next 5 minutes, I would like to take you through Indonesia's AI governance architecture and why I believe it is one of the most distinctive models, not just in ASEAN, but globally. Uh, uh, it was very good to also hear Mr. Abhishek's presentation on Thailand, which is a fellow ASEAN country, and Indonesia follows the same steps. Moving on to the introduction and AI policy framework, Indonesia's AI journey formally begins with Strana's KA 2020-2045, the national strategy for artificial intelligence, rather than being a standalone technology policy. It directly supports Indonesia's broader national vision of Golden Indonesia 2045, which aims to transform the country into a high income, innovation driven economy by its centenary independence. So, Indonesia has deliberately prioritized five sectors where AI can generate the greatest public value. Those are healthcare, education, food security, smart cities, and bureaucratic reforms. So this targeted deployment model reflects Indonesia's broader philosophy, which is to solve national development challenges first and then technological leadership. Moving on to the AI governance framework, this philosophy is also reflected in Indonesia's governance model. So, unlike jurisdictions such as the European Union, Indonesia has consciously avoided introducing a comprehensive AI Act at such an early stage. So instead, it relies primarily on soft law governance, most notably the ministerial circular number 9 of 2023, issued by the Ministry of Communication and Informatics. Although this circular is not legally binding, it establishes the country's normative framework by setting out principles such as transparency, accountability, fairness, etc. Moving forward with major laws and regulations. While AI itself is largely governed through soft law, Indonesia has strengthened the legal ecosystem through its Personal Data Protection Law of 2022, which is the country's first comprehensive data protection legislation. So, the Act imposes enforceable obligations on organizations processing personal data, including where AI systems rely on automated decision making. Therefore, Indonesia's governance architecture today rests on two complementary pillars: a binding data protection regime and a flexible AI governance framework. Moving on to my key findings of the study. One of the most interesting findings from my research was that uh, Indonesia uh, Indonesia treats AI as an electronic agent under its electronic transactions framework. So this is important because it avoids the common misconception of AI acting independently in law. Instead, responsibility continues to rest with the human operators, developers, and organizations deploying these systems. My second key finding would be that Indonesia has a sectoral approach to AI governance. Rather than regulating every AI application uniformly, Indonesia is progressively developing governance within sectors where AI presents higher risks. So, for example, the financial services sector, where regulators have already, introduced detailed guidance requiring human oversight, explainability, accountability, and risk management throughout the AI life cycle. Moving ahead with the challenges that the country currently faces, I don't think their biggest challenge is not ambition. I think it is capability. Like, the country continues to face shortages in advanced computing infrastructure and high performance data and AI researchers and technical talent. So this creates something which can be called a sovereignty paradox. Like, Indonesia seeks AI sovereignty, but it still depends significantly on foreign technology, cloud infrastructure, and international partnerships to achieve it. A second challenge is
Um, just a
institutional
moment,
fragmentation.
Archita. Just a moment, Archita.
Yes, ma'am.
Archita, your time is over. Kindly please conclude.
All right. I would like to talk a little about recommendations. So, based on these findings, I suggest that Indonesia gradually move from its current soft law framework towards a more comprehensive risk based AI legislation. And to conclude, I would like to mention that among ASEAN countries, Indonesia stands apart because it has framed AI not as a race for technological supremacy, but as a tool for nation building. So, if the next step is translating this ambitious vision into a coherent and enforceable legal framework. So, if Indonesia succeeds, it will not simply become another country using AI framework. It could become ASEAN's most influential example of development driven AI governance. That
All
would be all
right.
from my side.
So,
Thank you so much.
thank you so much, Archita. Does anybody has a question for Archita?
Okay, yes, fellow, what are your three key findings of the study?
I think my biggest observation is that Indonesia has adopted what I would describe as like a development first and regulation second approach to AI governance, more like mostly towards national development. So, unlike other jurisdictions like the EU, which began by establishing a comprehensive regulatory framework through the AI Act, Indonesia has prioritized using AI as a catalyst for economic growth, digital transformation, etc. So instead of creating a standalone AI law at the outset, Indonesia has relied on existing legislation, which, as the personal data protection law, electronic information and transaction law, these various ministerial guidelines regulate AI indirectly, much like how India also functions. So, this has provided flexibility for their innovation and has also resulted in fragmented governance. But overall, Indonesia's strategy reflects the realities of like a developing digital economy, and we as Indian citizens understand it better than anyone else. So it is trying to strike a balance between encouraging technological advancement and gradually strengthening legal safeguards. That would be all. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Now we would move ahead to our next presenter. Our next presenter is Umang Verma. He's a student from Guru Ghazidas University and his country of research is Qatar. So, Umang, kindly start presenting now. Okay, Umang, we can see your slide, but we cannot see you. Umang, are you there?
Yes, ma'am, I'm there. Just
You're all right. You can start presenting now, and your time would be starting from now on. Hey, Siri.
uh, good morning, everyone. So, what I am presenting today is a governance blueprint for Qatar AI ecosystem, an analysis for where the regulatory architecture stands and where the stretched thin and where it needs to go. So Qatar isn't just adopting AI. The question I am asking is whether it can govern it on its terms and set a standard for region while doing it. Start with the foundation. Qatar has moved through three phases from a legacy state telecom monopoly to uh, nationwide fiber for 5G to what I call sovereign digital compute. So this isn't incidental. It is Qatar National Vision 2030 by design. AI treated as a general purpose transformational utility, not as a siloed commercial sector. The target are concrete, that is QAR 40 billion in annual digital economic output and 26,000 skilled ICT jobs. The paradigm shift is simple. From state telecom monopoly agile to localized state directed digital capacity. So the that ambition needs compute. So in the third slides you can see the Qatar is buying its way past the bottleneck with sovereign capital. The anchor is the $20 billion QIA Brockfield joint venture building localization and GPU intensive computer center. Around that, QCRI as the state and R&D engine also. So this is infrastructure sovereignty. Qatar isn't renting compute from outside world. It is building the floor under its own AI ambitions. Moving to the next slide. So what the philosophy underneath all the capital? Two ideas. First, sovereignty by design, embedding Islamic values, Qatari cultural heritage directly into the mathematical architecture of AI models, not bolted on after the fact. And the second one is the satisfied developmentalism. So, targeted sector specific interventions instead of the blunt economy wide bans. So that philosophy plays out the across six pillars: education, data, development, employment, business, research, ethics. Uh, I won't walk all six. The point is that that isn't an ad hoc. It is a structured system. So here is the philosophy made concrete. The FANAR 2.0 A27 billion parameter bilingual LLM trained on 120 billion credit tokens built by the QCRI on a localized cluster of 256 NVIDIA H100 GPUs. So it doesn't stand alone. FANAR Guard is a 4 billion parameter motorization filter mathematically trained for enforce Islamic and the social values in outputs. So Fanar Sadiq is a retrieval augmented system grounded in the verified Islamic judicially specifically to eliminate theological hallucinations. This isn't linguistic autonomy as a policy. Uh, According our deliberate architecture to mitigate Western bias based into global foundational models and secure Qatari culture independence at the model level, not just the content modernization. Moving to the next slide. Now, now the legal reality underneath all the innovation. Qatar has no horizontal economy-wide AI act, so it governs AI today by stretching three legacy statutes. First, the copyright law from 2002, then the cybercrime intervention law from 2024 or 2014, and the personal data privacy protection law from the 2016. Each has its real teeth. PDPPL require National Cyber Security Agency approval for spatial nature data and AI perspective in interferences. Routinely triggered by, but copyright law has no fair use exception for text
Uh,
and data mining.
just a moment. Just a moment. I'm so sorry to interrupt, but your time is up. Kindly conclude.
So my conclusion is that enforcement itself is a distributed across three bodies, and that is what the result was practiced in direction 1 in of 2013 and strict personality liability for AI errors and mandatory human verification. So Qatar is consolidating its sovereignty by design approach into an unified statutory code. Done right, this doesn't just fill a gap; it positions Qatar as the premier AI regulatory standard setter for the global south. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Uh, Anybody has a question for the presenter?
Okay, fellow, what are your key observation throughout the Qatar's AI policy and governance?
In this research, I find the Qatar governs AI not through a dedicated horizontal law, but by stretching three legacy statutes: copyright, cybercrime, and data privacy law, while simultaneously building the infrastructure and the philosophy for a more sovereign, unified framework. Two organizing principles emerge from the evidence: sovereignty by design, embedding Islamic values and cultural heritage into AI infrastructure and architecture itself. So most visibly in the Fanar 2.0 model that I show in the slide 6, and its Fanar Guard, Fanar Sadiq components that is in the slide 7, and Rick's Starfeet developmentalism, so which favors targeted sectoral rules over the blanket bans. So this produces a bifurcated compliance landscape between the mainland and the Qatar financial system, and enforcement remains distributed across three institutions, that is MCIT and NCSA and the newly organized operational NCAI, that have yet to fully coordinate. So, notably, the judiciary has moved faster than the legislature. The Shepard versus Gillian LLC ruling on AI hallucinated citation directed produced binding practice directions number 1 of 2026. Well ahead of any statutory AI law, my overall observation is that Qatar is not simply catching up to global governance norms, but consolidating a deliberate third model. So, distinct from the EU style and the US style regulations, that positions the state to become an AI regulatory standard setter for the global south.
Okay, all right. Thank you for your presentation.
All right, thank you so much. Now we would move
Thank you.
on to our next presenter. Our next presenter is Nasreen Begum. Nasreen Begum is a researcher in Maharashtra National Law University, Nagpur, and her country of research is Mauritius. Nasreen, you may start presenting now.
Good morning, everyone. Am I audible? Hello.
Nasreen, you are audible, but we cannot see you and we cannot see your slides.
I'm trying to present my screen.
Yes, sure.
Please give me a moment. Please let me know if my screen is visible. Is it visible? Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible and your slides are visible. You may start presenting now.
Okay. Thank you so much. Okay. So, good morning, everyone, and thank you for
Hello,
giving me
you are
this
not
wonderful.
visible.
Yeah, actually, I'm having some problem in turning on the video. Can I start without the video?
But that's the protocol of presenting. Like you need to
Yeah.
turn on the camera.
Okay. You just give me a moment. Am I visible now?
Yes, you can start with
Okay.
your presentation.
Okay. Thank you so much. So, just a moment. Okay. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for giving me this wonderful opportunity for presenting in this forum. So, my topic is AI Policy Research Fellowship in Artificial Intelligence Law Policy and Governance Framework of Mauritius. So, when we look at the future of African digital sovereignty, we do not need to look to Silicon Valley or Brussels. We need to look at an island nation in the Indian Ocean. Today, I want to show you why Mauritius is writing the blueprint of AI governance in the global south. So, if we go to my second slide, It shows that in the 2018, as you know, Mauritius became the first African nation to publish a dedicated national AI strategy, signaling early geopolitical foresight and building foundational digital scaffolding. So they had this foresight on that time at the year 2018. Now, now they have turned. They want to execute this grand action. Now they want to do this via actionable execution via the digital transformation blueprint. Moving on to my next slide, if we go through the principles and fair soft law paradigm, so what is this? Instead of using strict rigid rules like those found in the EU, this approach is called the pragmatism innovation. It aims to encourage innovation while still keeping important ethical guardrails. So it basically focuses on fairness. It avoid unjustified bias and discrimination with testing expectation, scaling directly with system risk. With respect to accountability, it requires a clear understanding of who is responsible for the AI. It mandates human oversight in high risk situations and ensures that there are ways for people to seek solutions if they encounter any problem. And the third is inclusiveness. It ensures that AI benefits society as a whole without while protecting against digital exclusion and systematic misleads. The fourth principle is responsibility. It emphasizes the need for ongoing monitoring, strong record keeping, and constant adjustments to handle unintended outcomes throughout the entire life cycle of the AI system. Moving on to my next slide, rather than creating one single massive AI regulator, the system uses existing to manage the AI risk based on the specific areas of expertise. If we can see in this present slide, this MITCI and AI unit, it engages multi-stakeholder strategic foresight, horizon scanning, and advisory. It is the central coordinating authority for the national AI strategy and the AIM portal. Financial Services Commission, it manages the proactive sectoral regulation, prudential supervision, and human in the loop mandates. Data Protection Office, it manages to react enforcement, algorithmic profiling, audits, and fever penalty execution. And there we have this Economic Development Board. It facilitates innovation, startup funding, and the regulatory sandbox license. Now, instead of creating a de facto AI law, it goes via a legislative mosaic. So, the approach combines three main legal areas to create functional AI governance 2026. The Data Protection Act 2017, this regulates automated processing and profiling and mandates DPIAs, that is Data Protection Impact Assessment, carrying fines up to MUR 25 million. Second, we have Cybersecurity Act 2021. It secures digital pipelines, targets AI-driven criminality, and protects critical information and structure. Third, we have the functional AI governance. So it does bind specific industries to high standards, FSC mandates for human in the loop, and algorithmic transparency. Moving on to the next slide, this is the regulatory sandbox license as a containment model. So what it does over here, it avoids preemptive banning. Instead of banning new technologies upfront, this RSL framework allows the state to observe how AI
I am so
algorithmic.
sorry to interrupt. I'm so sorry to interrupt. Your time is over. Could you kindly conclude, please?
Sure. So my findings are that by the regulatory dualism it is solved by transitioning targeted soft law principles into binding statutory requirements. Mauritius successfully balances GDPR equivalent citizen protections with sandbox technological innovation. Regional leadership, the jurisdiction stands as a vital digital corridor between Asian and African markets, offering global investors legal stability, ethical alignment, and high-value AI deployment capabilities. And my final takeaway is true algorithmic maturity is not achieved by avoiding risk, but by engineering a democratic architecture capable of governing it. So I have finished my presentation.
Okay,
Can we have
fellow.
questions? Yes.
Yes, fellow. What is your key understanding and finding of the AI policy and governance in Mauritius?
It has a filtering system. It allows the technology to come, but then it filters if there's a high risk, and there's a risk based assessment like in UAI Act. If the risk is high, so they ban it, and according to the risk, they allow they allow more higher supervision by allowing the human in the loop in the governance system.
All right. Thank you
All
for your
right,
presentation.
thank you so much.
Thanks all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We would now like to move on with our next presenter. Our next presenter is Priyashi Varshne. So, Priyanshi Varshne is a student from Christ Deemed to be University, Pune, Lavasa, and her country of research is Switzerland. Priyanshi, you may start presenting now.
Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible, you're visible, your slides are also visible. So, your time would also start now, Priyanshi.
Okay. So, first of all, thank you for giving me this opportunity. My research title is The Alpine Model, the Leveraging Existing Laws and Tech Laws Research for the Ethical AI in Switzerland. Now, Switzerland has one of the world's strongest AI ecosystem. It ranks first globally in AI talent density with approximately 105 AI researcher per 100,000 people, and almost 43 of these researchers hold doctoral degrees. This success is rooted in decades of investment, digital infrastructure, beginning with the liberalization of the telecommunication in 1997 and continuing through the Digital Switzerland strategy, which emphasizes digital sovereignty, interoperability, and secure technological development. Now, now we go through that the Alpine model of the AI governance, which is the major research area, unlike why it is known as Alpine, that unlike jurisdictions that establish one central AI regulator, Switzerland follows a decentralized, risk based approach. For example, Ofcom coordinates national AI policy. The Federal Data Protection Information Commissioner oversees privacy and data protection, while Swissmedic regulates AI used in healthcare and medical device. Then there are certain legal voids which I found out while researching is that Switzerland intentionally do not have comprehensive AI law. AI is regulated through existing legal framework, creating what is often known as legal void. So this gap is basically have four pillars. First is Federal Act on Data Protection, which governs automated design making and privacy. Then Swiss Code of Obligations, which deal with liability, and the Product Liability Act, which address defective AI enabled products, and while patent and copyright laws govern intellectual property. Now, to understand the Switzerland and the European Union difference. To understand Switzerland approach more clearly, I really wanted to compare with the European Union. So, Switzerland, on the other hand, follows a pragmatic and technological neutral approach, while the UI which classify AI system according to their level of risk and imposes comprehensive compliance obligations. So, however, because Swiss companies operate within the European market, they often may comply with the EU AI Act, and despite the absence of equivalent domestic legislation, creating what my research identify as regulatory dualism. And one of the significant findings of the research is Switzerland's success does not depend only on the legislation, but also its exceptional research ecosystem like ETH Zurich and EPFL Lausanne are internationally recognized center of AI research. While the Swiss National Supercomputing Center provides the computational infrastructure required for advanced AI development, together with the strong public-private collaboration, these systems form what is called as Alpine Tech Cluster. Now there are the research findings where the first is the accountability gap. where determining liability becomes difficult because AI system often functions in black boxes. Second is, as I mentioned, regulatory dualism, where Swiss businesses must comply with both Swiss law and the European Union AI framework. The thirdly is the intellectual property gap, particularly regarding AI generated content, the use of copyrighted material and discrimination before AI are deployed. So these are the four challenges. Now let's go with certain recommendation with my research which I wanted to put forward. Like based on my findings, my research proposes targeted reforms instead of recommending to the ad provisions in the act. Like first, Switzerland should introduce strict liability for certain high risk AI system to improve accountability where harm occurs. Second, it should establish sector specific regulatory testing hubs that allow developers to evaluate high risk AI system before commercial development. And third, intellectual property should be modernized to clarify ownership, AI generated works, and regulate the use of training data sets. Now by 2028, the country is likely to strengthen the targeted measures for high risk AI. By 2031, it has the potential to become the global model for trustworthy, interoperable, and sovereign
I'm
AI
so sorry to interrupt.
governance.
I'm so sorry to interrupt. Your time is up. Kindly conclude.
Okay. So to conclude, my research demonstrate that Switzerland offers a distinctive and effective alternative to comprehensive AI regulation. Instead of relying on one overarching AI statute, it combines the existing legal framework, decentralizing the regulatory institution, and world-class research infrastructure to promote responsible innovation. At the same time, my study identifies certain legal gaps to relating to liability, accountability, and like intellectual property. Rest, I finished my presentation.
All right. Thank you so much. Does anybody has a question for the presenter?
Okay, fellow, what is your understanding on the Switzerland's AI ethical policies?
So I feel that they have a very good when they decentralize the policies, because as we know, when we decentralize the process, there is more accountability, and also there is technologically neutral regulation as we compared with the EU. And then there is a risk based approach that they have adapted. And also they have, because of the research institution like Zurich, they gave the priority to the innovation first. So I feel this is the major thing that they are good at it, and they can also work more about it with their policies.
All right, thank you for your presentation.
Thank you,
All
sir.
right. Thank you so much. Now, the next presenter we have is Ishani Chakrabarti. So, Ishani Chakrabarti is a student at Rajiv Gandhi National Law University, Punjab, and her country of research is Slovenia. Ishani, you may start presenting now. Ishani, we can see and hear you, but we cannot see your slides.
Just a second, ma'am. Can you see my slides now?
Yes, Ishani, you may start now, and your time starts now.
Right. Good morning, members of the panel. Today, I am presenting the findings of my research on Slovenia's AI framework, a nation currently transitioning from abstract strategic planning to rigorous administrative enforcement. This research specifically highlights Slovenia's role as a global policy incubator through IRCAI. Slovenia's digital journey is unique. It began in 1949 with the founding of the Joseph Stefan Institute, originally for atomic research before pivoting to cybernetics. By 1991, Slovenia was the 16th country globally to connect to the internet, a move by JSI researchers. This deep academic heritage remains the backbone of the nation's current AI capabilities as well. The cornerstone of Slovenia's global influence is IRCAI,
established at JSI under UNESCO auspices in 2020. IRCAI isn't just a research lab, it's a global coordinating node that aligns AI innovations with sustainable development goals. Notably, the IRCAI helped draft the UNESCO recommendation on the ethics of AI and has actively shaped the EU AI Act's structural preparation. Slovenia's strategy has evolved through three phases. The current national strategy for AI until 2030, which is the NSAI 2030, was adopted in March of 2026, marking a shift towards a sovereignty driven model. It prioritizes data, infrastructure, and specifically linguistic sovereignty to protect the Slovenian language from digital exclusion by global commercial platforms. To implement the EU AI Act, Slovenia enacted the ZIUDHPUI in October of 2025. This is a procedural enabling statute. It does not create new substantive obligations but establishes the domestic institutional matrix for market surveillance and a national penalty regime. Penalties for severe breaches can reach up to 35 million euros or 7% of global turnover. Slovenia uses a decentralized, polycentric model. ACOS serves as the single point of contact for the EU and manages regulatory sandboxes. However, oversight is shared. The Information Commissioner handles prohibited practices and fundamental rights, while the Bank of Slovenia monitors financial algorithms. Sovereignty is supported by HPC Vega, one of Europe's most powerful supercomputers. Hosted at the Izum Maribor with a peak performance of 10.1 petaflops. It allows domestic researchers to train massive data sets like the GAMS language model without relying on foreign cloud providers. My research identified some critical gaps. Firstly, the GAPA dilemma. Slovenia's administrative law requires all decisions to be reasoned by a human, yet, current reforms lack safeguards for automated decision making. Other than that, the obligations code remains fault based, providing proving that negligence is in a you can say a black box for a neural network, and it's an almost insurmountable hurdle for victims. I have some recommendations to offer. Firstly, updating the ZOP to define quote unquote meaningful human intervention. Secondly, reforming liability rules to clarify if autonomous systems qualify as dangerous objects. And thirdly, filling the public sector skills gap as the state has yet to conduct a formal needs assessment for AI auditing. In conclusion, Slovenia is moving from planning to enforcement. By 2031, its success will depend on whether it can reconcile its ambitious pursuit of linguistic sovereignty with the practical realities of administrative transparency and human centric law. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Does anybody has a question for the presenter?
Yes, fellow, what is your key two findings of the study?
Right, sir. Sir, so my primary findings of this study will be about the framework that Slovenia has and how underappreciated it is. So, the fact that Slovenia had major contribution to the implementation of the EU AI Act and its decentralized model, that and its infrastructure being supported by HPC Vega. Those are my key findings because I also remember when I was assigned this country, I was very skeptical about how I will go about the research because I myself also had not heard too much about its AI policies despite having had worked on AI policies before.
Uh, in to the point that in order to come up with policy recommendations, I had to brainstorm a lot because Slovenia's AI policy framework currently is working very smoothly. My recommendations, however, like I stated before, stay the same: to update certain definitions and reform liability rules.
All right, thank you so much. That was a really insightful presentation. We can move
Thank you so
forward
much.
with our next
Thank you, ma'am.
presenter. All right, we can move forward with our next presenter. Our next presenter is Ankita Balwant Dixit, student, and she's a student of Department of Law, Savitribai Phule University, Pune, Maharashtra, and her country of research is Denmark. Ankita, you can start presenting now.
Hello, ma'am. Good afternoon, respected member of the academic panel and the my fellow participant. I'm Ankita Balwant Dixit. I'm from Savitribai Phule University, Department of Law. Today, I'm presenting my research paper titled as "Human-Centric Artificial Intelligence Governance in Denmark: A Legal and Institutional Analysis." This research examines the how Denmark has successfully balanced the technological innovation with the legal accountability, transparency, and the protection of fundamental rights. It demonstrates that the AI should enhance human decision making rather than the replace it. Uh, so, Denmark is one of the world leading digital nation. Over the past 2 decades, it has the developed secure digital infrastructure through the system like MIT-ID and the integrated public services. What makes Denmark unique is the is its emphasis on the public trust. The government believes that the technology should improve citizens' lives while the protecting democracy, privacy, and human rights. Therefore, the AI is designed to support public officials, not to replace them. So, AI policy framework. So, Denmark's AI governance is based on three major policy documents. One, uh, First one, the National Strategy for AI 2019 promotes the responsible AI innovation. Second one, the Strategic Approach to AI 2024. It addressed the challenge created by the generative AI and the cybersecurity. And last one, the Joint Digital Strategy of 2026 to 2029. It integrates the AI into the public administrative while ensuring the responsible governance. Together, these policies promote the innovation with the accountability. Laws and regulations I have gone through. Instead of creating the separate AI laws, Denmark combines the European and the national legislation. First, the EU AI Act regulates the AI according to the different level of risk, and the GDPR protects the privacy and the limits automated decision making. Additionally, the Act number 467 of 2025 authorized the Danish authority to implement and enforce the EU AI Act effectively. Institutional framework. Denmark relies on the existing public institutions rather than the creating a new AI regulator. A Ministry of Digital Government provides the policy directions. The Agency for Digital Government manage the implementation, and the Danish Data Protection Agency supervises the privacy, compliance, and the related responsibilities. These institutional modes ensure the efficiency, expertise, and the accountability. Uh, Responsible AI implementations. Denmark follows four key principles while implementing AI, artificial intelligence. First one, human oversight, where the final decision always remains with the human, not with the uh, artificial intelligence. Second, the transparency. Transparency ensures the citizens understand the AI assisted decisions. Third one, the accountability, meaning the public authorities remain legally responsible. And finally, the fairness, ensuring the AI system do not discriminate against the individual. Key findings of the research. My research identifies five important findings. My research identifies the five important findings. First, Denmark uses existing institutions instead of the creating new regulators. Second, AI is fully integrated into the digital governance. Third, innovation is balanced with the legal accountability. Fourth, the Denmark works closely with the European Union. Finally, the protection of human rights remains a central objective of the AI governance. Uh, challenges, the following challenges I have done with this research work. Despite its success, the several challenges remain. Generative AI is a developing.
Just a moment. Just a moment. Ankita, your time is up. Kindly conclude.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Despite the success, several challenges remain. Generative AI is developing rapidly, requires the continuous policy update. Public institutions needs more AI expertise and the technical capacity. Coordination among the multiple regulatory bodies is also challenging. Cybersecurity and algorithmic transparency remains ongoing concern. My recommendations. Based on my research, I recommend four measures: strengthen the AI education for public officials, expand the regulatory sandboxes for the responsible innovation, increase the transparency and public awareness regarding the AI system, continue aligning national policies with the EU AI Act while the encouraging ethical AI development. Conclusion. The To conclude, Denmark demonstrate that the responsible AI governance is possible when innovation is combined with the strong legal institutions, transparency, and human oversight. Its human-centric approach protects the citizens while the encouraging technological progress. This model provides the valuable lessons for the countries seeking to develop trustworthy and the accountable AI governance framework. Thank you for your attention. I welcome for your questions, sir.
Sure. Does anybody has a question for the presenter?
Okay, there are a number of issues with the Denmark's policy regarding the AI governance. So have you addressed those issues in your research project?
Yes, sir. So my research does not only examine the Denmark's strength, but also critically analyze the challenge in its AI governance framework. I have identified the issues such as the rapidly growth of generative AI and the need of greater AI expertise within the public institution, coordination challenges among the multiple regulatory authorities, concern about the algorithmic transparency and the cybersecurity risk. Based on these findings, I have proposed the policy recommendations, including the strengthening AI literacy, expanding regulatory sandboxes, improving the transparency and explainability, and ensuring the continuous alignment with the EU AI Act. Therefore, my research provide both descriptive and the critical analysis of the Denmark AI government model, sir.
All right. Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. That was really insightful, Ankita. Then we would move forward to our next presenter. Our next presenter is Disha. Sorry, the next presenter is Saransh. Saransh Mishra is a student at Rashtriya Raksha University and his country of research is New Zealand. Saransh, you may start presenting now.
I hope I am visible enough.
Yes, Saransh, you're visible and audible.
Okay.
Saransh, we cannot see your slides.
Yes, ma'am. Wait. Is my slide is visible? Hello.
Yes, your slides are visible now. You may start presenting and your time starts now.
So, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Today, I'll be presenting my research on the artificial intelligence law, policy, and governance framework of New Zealand, examining how a small digitally advanced nation is trying to balance rapid AI adoption with its unique constitutional commitment. So, if we move forward, the New Zealand has chosen the New Zealand have, the approach which New Zealand has adopted is has chosen an option for strategy, prioritizing which is prioritizing a diffusion of proven AI tools rather than building its own frontier models. This is backed by real infrastructure. Microsoft's Tehuka data centers run on 100% renewable geothermal energy, and AWS expanded its Asia Pacific cloud region in 2025. And as we all know, the economic stakes are high. So the government targets an additional $76 billion to GDP by 2038 to close a historic productivity gap, alongside to plan a upskill 2 lakh citizens in AI by 2028. As we move forward, I would like to address a polycentric governance architecture, which uh, is my slide visible? No?
Yes, your slides are visible. You can continue.
Okay. Thank you, sir. So a polycentric governance architecture. What is this? It is a governance. It is what to say. It is a government. It is not a centralized in one AI regulator. Instead, it's polycentric. MBIE stewards the 2025 National AI Strategy. The government chief digital officer oversees public services. The Office of the Privacy Commissioner enforces privacy rights, and even sector-specific bodies like the Financial Markets Authority run their own regulatory sandboxes for safe AI testing. So, if we move forward with the algorithmic charter, it discusses that at the center of the public sector AI, you sits the algorithmic charter for IoTeora. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. A world's first soft law instrument launched in 2020. It's voluntary, calibrated by a risk and impact matrix, and rests on six principles basically, which are transparency, partnership with Tia Maori, people focus, and data fitness, human oversight, and accountability. And after looking everything, we can say it's innovative, but as we'll see, it's not legally binding. So we can say it's just a it's just a toothless legislature which comes into the picture. Now, if we move forward with the Maori data sovereignty, the constitutional imperative. So this is the constitutional core of my research. So I want your attention here, that because this is the constitutional core of my research. New Zealand's data governance runs on two parallel strands basically: a Western legal framework for the Privacy Act and algorithmic charter, and an indigenous framework built on Te Mana Raraunga and Te Kahui Raraunga, grounded in Article 2 of Te Tiriti and UNDRIP, asserting Maori's Tino Raga Tiratanga self-determination over their own data. The gap between these two strands is what I call the Y262 legacy. Integration remains aspirational, with no legally binding co-governance or chief Maori data steward yet in place. And if we move forward, now I'll discuss the regulation through the legacy parameter. It says that New Zealand, rather than passing a bespoke AI Act, New Zealand stretches existing technological neutral statutes to cover AI harms. There are several laws like Privacy Act's informational privacy principles treat feeding data into third-party AI as a regulated disclosure. The Human Rights Act 1993 is the primary defense against algorithmic bias. The Copyright Act 1994 governs data scraping through a broad definition of copying, and the Fair Trading Act capture. Sorry, through a broad definition of copying, and the Fair Trading Act captures AI-generated deepfakes under prohibitions on misleading content. So now I would like to move forward with the copyright anomaly and the biometric code, which there are two provisions which deserve special attention. Section 52A of the Copyright Act uniquely grants 50 years protection to proudly computer generated works with no human author. A rule now destabilized by generative AI and is starkly different from the human authorship requirements in the US and EU. On the other hand, if we see, the 2025 Biometric Processing Privacy Code is the only binding AI-specific instrument of general application in the country. It strictly prohibits it strictly prohibits the emotional prediction, attention tracking, and AI-inferred ethnicity except in narrow authorized contexts. Now, I would like to discuss the New Zealand strategy posture, which is New Zealand is very strategically positioned, which the New Zealand position between the laissez-faire US model and the highly prescriptive EU model. New Zealand occupies a light touch, enabling principle-based middle ground. This posture combines normative multilateralism through bodies like GPAI, a pragmatic number 8 wire, resourcefulness suited to an SLP.
Saransh, just a moment. Saransh, your time is over. Kindly conclude.
If I'm permitted, can I discuss the policy gaps and its recommendations?
Sir, as you may say.
Okay, yes, go ahead and try to wrap up in 1 minute.
Sure, sir. So there are, if we have analyzed everything, and through that we can see that there are basically three real cracks that remains. First, the durability of the soft law. Algorithmic charter has not statutory teeth, penalties, or binding audit. Second, intellectual property analysis. The absence of a text and data mining exceptions leaves the section 5.2a anomaly unresolved. Third, a label protection void. It remains it exists there, but the employment law remains reactive, not preemptive on algorithmic management. Now I would like to finish up and finishing up with my presentation. I would like to give some recommendation that we just identified some gaps. On the basis of that, I would like to give some policy recommendations. So my research proposes mainly three reforms. First, the legislative co-governance. My statutory recognizing a chief Mori data steward, resolve the IP anomaly by reforming Section 52A, introducing text and data mining exceptions, and enact workplace protections through proactive algorithmic management statutes. And now I'd also like to discuss the geopolitical outlook with the New Zealand's perspective. So ultimately, New Zealand's comparative advantage in AI governance is diplomatic, not technological. So its success as a global regulatory model depends entirely on closing the gap between its admitted indigenous inclusive rhetoric and the enforceable reality of data sovereignty. Thank you. That was all from my side. If there are any questions, I would like to welcome them.
Okay, fellow, can you provide a gist about how data sovereignty and the policies the country is working upon?
So, sir, the country is currently working about the adoption policy. So, it doesn't have its own statutory or AI specific law. Currently, it is governing on the laws which already exist there. It relies on them, and there is so if we see that the currently existing laws are not binding enough, and that also they have adopted the algorithmic charter. That algorithmic charter is not binding. So it's toothless. It's not imposing any penalties or anything on upon the people. So it is just toothless and people, and it's also voluntary. So that's why I've proposed that recommendations that proposed that recommendation, which it discusses the my first recommendation, which says that legislative co-governance it addresses the same point, that there does not exist any binding law which binds the people to comply with it. It's a voluntary.
All right. Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much, Saransh.
Thank you
That
for
was really insightful. We will now move on to our next presenter. Our next presenter is Disha. She is a professional from University School of Law and Legal Studies, and her country of research is China. Disha, you may start presenting now. Disha, are you there?
Ma'am, is my screen visible?
Yes, Disha, your screen is visible, but could you also switch on your camera?
One second.
Okay, Disha, we can now see you, hear you, and we can see your PPT, and your time will start now.
So, good afternoon, everyone. My research examines China's artificial intelligence law and governance framework, a study, a system built on state planning, iterative administrative regulations, and layered compliance mandates. Rather than a single AI app, China regulates through a dense, evolving web of rules. So, The China's regulatory approach didn't begin with the AI as it evolved through the period of time. From the 1970s, during the 1970s, the focus was purely on telecom infrastructure and hardware. The 2000s brought informationization, folding digital systems into public governance. The real turning point was 2017 with the State Council's new generation AI development plan, a three-step roadmap to global leadership by 2030. And by 2025-2026, we see dynamic control mechanisms, labeling rules and safeguards for anthropomorphic AI. Now, what's actually driving this strategy? So, two forces shape China's AI strategy. The first is a state led trajectory that is deep aligned between ministries, academia, and enterprises, backed by the state's directed guidance funds and anchored today in the AI Plus initiative under the 15th 5-year plan. Then second is social and economic drivers. AI is deployed on onset an aging, shrinking workforce to guard ideologically security against disinformation and manipulation, and to rebalance national resources like the West to East computing projects. So, who actually enforces all this? uh, Enforcement is fragmented. The Cyberspace Administration, or CAC, is the central orchestra controlling online content and algorithm registries and holding unusual political authority as a dual state party body. MIIT oversees industrial and hardware compliance, and the Ministry of Public Security governs surveillance networks and steps in whenever algorithm systems are seen to threaten and social stability. These three don't always move in sync. But that institutional web produces four core legislative instruments. uh, Four rules matters the most because the 2022 recommendations algorithm rules require opt-outs and model registration. The deep synthesis provisions target synthetic media mandating consent and digital watermarking. The 2023 generative AI measure impose joint liability on public LLM providers for both content and data sourcing. And most recently, the anthropomorphic interactive rules uh, require uh, require anti-addition interventions. That's very decent and very targeted rule. Now, uh, interaction with the legacy digital laws. So, in absence of a unified AI Act, these new rules are anchored onto three legacy laws. The Personal Information Protection Law depends separate consent for incentive biometric data, a major fraction point for training large models. The Data Security Law forces AI developers to essentially audit their own training pipelines, and the cybersecurity law mandates data localization inside China, with 2025 amendments now encouraging AI for network defense. The key technical safety standards. The under TC 260's basic safety requirements enforced since November 2025. The model output must hit a 90% minimum qualified content safety rates. Training data can't be sourced from repositories where more than 5% of material is flagged illegal and unhealthy. And platforms crossing 1 million registered users face mandatory ex ante safety filing and dual layer content labeling. uh, so how does this play out sector by sector? So the two sectors show the tension clearly. In IP and gig work, the Beijing Internet Code's 2023 stable diffusion ruling granted
Just a
copyright
moment.
protection.
Just a moment, please.
Presenter, your time is over. Kindly wrap up as soon as possible.
Okay. So in defense, there is a clear dual use translation that civil AI breakthroughs feed directly into autonomous defense systems and reinforced by regressive sovereign resource controls responding to Western chip instructions restrictions and like critical policy gaps this is the core finding of my research, a regulatory paradox. Despite this dense web of rules, there is a systematic deficit, oversizing administrative authority paired with minimal civil redress for affected users. There is no hierarchical national AI law from the parliament. Only departmental rules are there. uh, and lastly, I sum up the entire presentation and I welcome your questions.
Okay, fellow, what are your findings of the research?
So, sir, my key findings are that right now the concerned department makes rules once there is a problem related to AI. But however, this approach works fast and it creates a major structural problem, that is lack of permanent legal framework, because there is a guidelines are written because these guidelines are written by individual government departments rather than the main parliament. They sit low on the legal ladder, and as a result different ministry frequently push overlapping or conflicting rules and local courts struggle to enforce them because of that.
Okay, thank you for your presentation.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. That was really insightful. Now we will move on to our next presenter. Our next presenter is Umar Abba Aja. He is a researcher from Integral University of Lucknow. His country of research is Costa Rica. Umar, you can start presenting now. Umar, please turn on your camera and your mic. Umar, we can see your slides, but yeah. All right. You can start presenting now, and your time will start now.
Fellow, you are not audible. Fellow, you are not audible. Host, is he audible from your end?
No, sir, I cannot hear him.
Yes. Am I audible,
Umar?
sir? Yes.
Yes, now you are audible.
Umar, yes,
Yes.
you're
Okay.
audible. You
Good,
can start presenting.
good afternoon, distinguished chair, esteemed evaluators, respected scholars, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Umar Abbaja, and I'm here to present my topic on artificial intelligence, law policy, and governance framework of Costa Rica. Uh, Artificial intelligence has emerged as one of the defining, you know, governance challenges of the 21st century, reshaping how governments regulate innovation, protect fundamental rights, and promote sustainable economic development. As AI systems become increasingly embedded in public institutions, the central question is no longer whether governments should regulate AI, but whether their regulatory frameworks are sufficiently resilient to keep pace with technological transformation. This chapter addresses one fundamental question. This chapter addresses one fundamental question: how AI is durable in governance when an ambitious national strategy is not translated into binding and enforceable legislation. To answer this question, I examined the case of Costa Rica, a country internationally recognized for its commitment to responsible AI governance, yet one of the countries that continues to operate without a comprehensive AI-specific law. I introduced the concept of durability gap, during which describe and disconnect between ambitious policy commitments and their implementation through effective legal and institutional mechanisms. I examined this gap through Costa Rica's 2026 political transition, treating it as a live governance case that reveals how a political change can shape government trajectory of AI regulation. Costa Rica presents particularly compelling case for examining AI governance. Constitutionally stable democracy of approximately 5.2 million people, Costa Rica abolished its military in 1949 and has since cultivated international influence through democratic governance, institutional stability, and normative leadership rather than military power. Costa Rica became the first Central American country to adopt national artificial intelligence strategy in 2024, has been a member of the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development (OECD) since 2021. Despite this achievement, Costa Rica lacks a comprehensive and legally enforceable AI statute. The existing scholarship has primarily examined Costa Rica's national AI strategy and its proposed legislation as static policy instrument. However, those analysis does not examine how the 2026 political transition altered the legislative trajectory of AI governance, nor do the systematic do, do the systematically compare Costa Rica's proposed framework with the European Union AI Act upon which substantially modeled. The Estrategia de Nacionalidad de Artificial Intelligence 2024 to 2027 is Costa Rica's fundamental non-binding AI instrument launched by the Ministry of Science, Innovation and Technology, Telecommunication (MCIT) on October 24, 2024, and explicitly aligned with the OECD principle of AI and the UNESCO's recommendation of ethics and artificial intelligence. Legal and institutional architecture. Introduced by May 2023, EU AI Act inspired by tires binding unacceptable practices, allies like social scoring and substantial manipulation, which will create interinstitutional AI commission to satisfy high-risk system and uncalled for debate after 3+ years. Here, as you can see in this slide, the policy auto-centered rector binding and sanctioning power, the PRODHAB, only body with real enforcement power today, the SUTEL, technical opinions on pending AI bills, legal status, binding regulation and force since August 2024, a political inflection point in 2026. Costa Rica's February 2026 general election delivered a decisive victory of Laura Fernandez Diago, Portuguese former minister of...
Umar, just a moment. Umar,
Yes,
your time is up. Kindly conclude.
come on. Here are the major challenges and policy gaps. One is legislative deferral. Two is under-resource enforcement. Three is the financial imprecision. And four is labor IP voids. Here are the policy recommendations and conclusions. Expedite enactment immediate, resource enforcement, protect workers, close the IDP gap, institutional transparency. A trajectory under construction, not a finished framework. Costa Rica appears a sophisticated, internationally aligned soft law strategy reinforced by its May 2026 leadership of the regional AI for LAG process and its adoption of ISO IEA 42001 with legislative process of its new administration has now firmly chosen not to prioritize deepening rather than resolving durability gap the chapter identifies. It is on this closing chapter's own research gap, tracking bill number 237712, a live political transition and benchmark is directly against the EUAI Act. The evidence points of one of conclusion of obstacle, which no one analytically but politically, since the option legislate has been available already and specifically declined. Costa Rica, though, stands as an evolving comparative test case for small, high institutional and democratic, and seek the normality in AI governance, while the domestic legislative capacity and as of 2026 political appetite has not yet catch up with the ambitious AI goal. Thank you so much.
Okay, fellow, what is your understanding on the country's AI framework?
Actually, Costa Rica is a country that is young and ambitious, as I can say, and the AI framework as of this 2026, which is, as I mentioned earlier, regarding the bill 237712, the live political transition benchmark. So, through the political transition benchmark, as the legislative law has passed, by 2023, to enact the AI law bill of the country. And right now, due to the current transition that happened, so they cannot be able to implement a fully constitutional AI framework that enable researchers, policymakers, and decision makers to analyze and regulate proper AI trajectory.
Okay, thank you for your presentation.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. We will now move on to our next presenter. Our next presenter is Anjali Chandrakant Chaveri. She is a student from Department of Law, Savitribai Phule, Pune University, and her country of research is Israel. So, Anjali, you may start presenting now.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. So, my friend Ankita have done her presentation. Now I joined her through her laptop. So, good afternoon, all panel members. Today I will present my research on artificial intelligence, law, policy, and governance framework of Israel. This study explains how Israel promotes AI innovation through a flexible and human-centric governance model while ensuring accountability and public trust. Um, Now, next, Israel AI journey. Israel AI success is based on four strengths: strong defense research, a vibrant startup ecosystem, skilled professionals, and supportive government policies. These factors have made Israel a global AI innovation hub. Then, governance framework. Israel follows a decentralized governance model. Different ministries regulate AI according to their expertise instead of having one AI authority. This makes AI governance flexible and sector specific. Then regulatory sandboxes. Israel uses regulatory sandboxes to test AI technologies in controlled environment under government supervision. This encourages innovation while protecting public safety and helps improve future policies. In existing legal framework, instead of separate AI law, Israel uses existing laws such as data protection, consumer protection, and administrative laws. These laws helps protect privacy, transparency, and consumer rights. Then, sectoral AI agency. Israel applies AI different across sectors. It supports innovation in intellectual property, promotes fairness in labor, and ensures human oversight in defense. This reflects a practical sector-specific approach. Then, key findings of our research work. My research shows that decentralized governance, sector-specific regulation, and regulatory sandboxes support responsible AI innovation. However, challenges remain in transparency, legal gaps, and international cooperation. Then, challenges and gap of policy. The main challenges are limited AI specific laws, privacy concerns, algorithm biases, transparency, and balancing national security with individual rights. Addressing these issues will improve public trust. Then, recommendation of the research. I recommend strengthening AI governance, expanding regulatory sandboxes, promoting ethical AI, increasing international cooperation. These steps will support responsible AI development. Then conclusion. In conclusion, Israel shows that effective AI governance is possible without a single AI act. Its flexible and innovation-driven approach offers valuable lessons for countries like India. Thank you. I will be happy to answer your questions.
Participant, what is your observation on Israel's AI ethical governance? Yes, fellow.
Anjali?
Yes, sir. I didn't. I did not understand question, sir.
Okay, I'm asking you, what is your observation on the ethical governance policies of Israel? Okay, thank you for your presentation. We're moving ahead with the next part, fellow.
All right, thank you so much, Anjali. Our next presenter here is S.J. Purnima, student from Damodaram Sanjivya National Law University, and her country of research is Malta. So, Purnima, you can start presenting now. We can see your slides. Kindly switch on your camera and mic. Purnima, we can hear you. Kindly switch on your camera.
Am I visible?
Yes, you are visible and you can start presenting now. Your time will be starting now.
Good afternoon, everyone. So, I'm going to present on my topic artificial intelligence, law, policy, and governance in Malta. So, before going into my topic, let me give a brief introduction about Malta. Malta is a small island nation situated in central Mediterranean Sea in Europe, and it is also a member of European Union, and it is one of the earliest countries to develop a specific blockchain technology launched in 2018. And going to the second slide, so we can divide the a regulatory framework of Malta into three phases. In 2018, it has recognized itself, and other countries also recognized it as a blockchain island because it has a specific regulatory frameworks and laws which focuses on the blockchain technology and digital assets like Malta Digital Innovation Authority and Virtual Financial Assets Act, which regulates the financial assets like cryptocurrencies and everything. So it has become responsible for other emerging technologies in the second phase, where it is called a technology neutral point because it has amended the Malta Digital Innovation Authority, where it has not only specifically focuses on the blockchain technology, but it also included all the emerging technologies, AI technologies, so it can regulate all the other emerging technologies. So in 2025, it introduced artificial intelligence regulation, and it aligned its AI framework with the EU IAA Act, which means it has adopted a risk-based approach, where in EU AI Act it has following a risk-based approach where it will allocate everything on basis on the risk, high risk AI and low risk AI, middle risk AI, and low risk AI. So it is following basically that approach. And going to the next slide, the strategic realignment of national AI policy. So, Malta introduced its national AI strategy in 2019, which is known as the Ultimate AI Launchpad, a strategy and vision for artificial intelligence in Malta 2030. This strategy aims to encourage AI innovation, research, investment, and digital transformation. It also focuses on developing AI ethical, trustworthy, and human centric AI, ensuring that technological development not only benefits the society while protecting people's rights also. So let's move on to the second slide and fourth slide. So it talks about the regulatory authorities. So the Malta government focuses on dual regulatory authority. One is Malta Digital Innovation Authority, and the other one is Information and Data Protection Commissioner. The Malta Digital Innovation Authority regulates AI and other emerging technologies. It promotes innovation, supervises AI complaints, and operates regulatory sandboxes where AI systems can be safely tested before deployment. Meaning, before it reaches the public, it will be tested before in a closed environment called the sandbox. And the Information and Data Protection Commissioner, this authority protects personal data and privacy by enforcing the General Data Protection Regulation. This General Data Protection Regulation is a standard of European Union, and it ensures that AI systems using personal data protect personal data's privacy and fundamental rights. These authorities ensures that AI is both innovative and legally compliant. And the next slide is for the sovereign infrastructure and innovation stack. So it says that it supports AI development. Malta has invested its finance in developing strong in digital infrastructure. The University of Malta carries out research in artificial intelligence and machine learning. So, the High Performance Computing Malta provides advanced computing facilities for AI research. Another important initiative of Malta government is DigiHub MD, which offers a test before invest environment where businesses can safely test AI systems before introducing them into the market. These initiatives will help Malta encourage innovation while reducing potential risks. The next slide is public sector algorithm pilots in active deployment. So the AI is already being used across several sectors in Malta. In healthcare, hospitals such as Mater Dei Hospital use
Just a moment, Purnima. Your time is over. Kindly conclude.
So the AI has not only been used in several sectors like healthcare, education, transport facilities, tourism. These has supported the efficiency of the sectors, and the legal challenges are the AI generated works have no owners because there is no particular IPR laws which says these are the owners of the AI generated works, and there is a lack of AI liability laws which says the AI generated contents are not being responsibility liability has been taken by anyone. So these are the challenges are faced by Malta, and Malta has been continuously trying to make its framework to be aligned with the European Union frameworks, so it can function efficiently. Thank you, sir.
Okay, fellow, what is your understanding on the country's AI policy governance framework?
So Malta has been transformed from a blockchain framework to a technological neutral approach. So I have said, as I said, that it has changed its framework from for say it has changed the approach from for a specific law for a specific technology. For it has introduced a specific law before, but now it has a single framework which will govern the overall emerging technologies, and it also continuously developing its or restructuring its framework to specifically align with the EU standards.
All right, thank you for your presentation.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Purnima. That was really insightful. We would now move on to our next and the very last presenter, that is Sarthak Mishra. Sarthak Mishra is a student from Maharashtra National Law University, Nagpur, and his country of research is Prague. So, Sarthak, you may start presenting now. Sarthak.
Okay, host, the participant and the fellow has lost his connection, it seems.
Yes, it really seems that. So, on that note, we would just conclude this. Sir, if you permit.
Okay, yes, we can move it to the conclusion.
Sure. So that concludes the final presentation for today's session. And congratulations to all our fellow who presented their research today. Each presentation reflected tremendous effort, critical thinking, comparative policy analysis, and a scholarly excellence. As we conclude the EI Policy Research Fellowship, the class of 2026, I would like to express our heartfelt gratitude to the distinguished members of the Fellowship Evaluation Panel, the Board of Assessment, the Director Sir, our collaborators, Google for Education, Data and Society Research Institute, every fellow whose dedication and hard work made this fellowship a success, and all viewers who joined us live from around the world. This fellowship has been more than just a research program. It has been a platform for cultivating future leaders in artificial intelligence policy, law, and governance. We hope the knowledge, skills, and research experience gained through this fellowship will continue to inspire meaningful academic contributions and responsible AI policymaking. Once again, on behalf of the Fellowship Secretariat and CDIPR, we thank each and every one of you for being a part of this remarkable journey. We wish you continued success in all the future academic, professional, and research endeavors. Thank you once again for joining us. Have a wonderful day. Jai Hind.